Hello students. So today we will start with the first component of a cell, which is known as cell membrane or the plasma membrane or the biomembrane that encloses the protoplasm. That means the boundary of the protoplasm or the boundary of a cell. So the main composition of a cell membrane are lipids, protein and carbohydrate. So the content you can see, lipid is around 40%, protein is 58 to 59% and carbohydrate is 1 to 2%. So biochemical investigation revealed that cell membrane possesses lipids, proteins and carbohydrate. That means for the average composition you have seen lipids 40%, proteins 58 to 59% and carbohydrate is 1 to 2%. So it is a universal structure. Universal means it is present in case of prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes also. So different structure has been proposed, a different model has been proposed to explain the structure of the cell membrane. So there are three models you have, as I have written. You can see the first one is sandwich or trilamellar model, second one is unit membrane model and third one is fluid mosaic model. But out of these three models, only the third one, fluid mosaic model, is the accepted model, because the first two models could not explain some functions about the cell membrane. So though first two models are not accepted, but then also we will see what they propose or what are the propositions according to the first two models. So first is the sandwich or trilamellar. As the name suggests, that means it appears like sandwich. So it appears like sandwich. So here, according to this model, the plasma membrane is made up of three layers, in which the biomolecular layer of lipid is sandwiched between two single layers of protein. That means here the cell membrane consists of three layers and in between the lipid layer is present. That means the two protein layer encloses the lipid layer. So total the thickness of the cell membrane is around 75 Armstrong, and the lipid layer is phospholipid in nature, which consists of two ends. You can see I have written non-polar hydrophobic tail and the other is polar hydrophilic tail. That means hydrophobic means water not loving. That means phobic means what? Fear. So water not loving, that means they are impermeable to water. That is non-polar hydrophobic and the outer two is the protein layer that encloses that phospholipid bilayer. Now hydrophilic head of the phospholipid binds with the protein layer. Okay, so hydrophilic head of the phospholipid binds with the protein layer by hydrogen and ionic bond, whereas hydrophobic tail are attached to each other. That means these two are attached to each other by van der Waals force. This is a type of force you will get in physics or chemistry. So this is a van der Waals force, and by this force only the hydrophobic tail are of the phospholipid are attached to each other, whereas this hydrophilic tail, that means the hydrophilic head. Okay, so the hydrophilic head binds with the protein with hydrogen or ionic bond. So this is about the sandwich or trilamellar model. That means you can conclude that the bilipid layer, that means the this is the bilipid layer made up of phospholipids, are sandwiched between the two protein layer. Two protein layer encloses the bilipid layer. But this model could not explain the selective permeability of the plasma membrane. Hence this was discredited. So this model was discarded because this model could not explain about the selective permeability of the cell membrane. So second model is known as unit membrane model, which was given by Robertson in 1959. So according to this model, it is same similar to the sandwich model, but the protein layer which you see in case of sandwich model is the two protein layer is similar. Means the one facing towards the protoplasm, and this, suppose this layer if it faces towards the protoplasm, this layer it faces towards outside, the size of the protein layer is same, whereas in case of unit membrane model the size differs. That means it is the inside the protein layer facing inside and the protein layer facing outside is not of the same size. Okay, so this model was also not accepted because this also fails to explain about the selective permeability of the plasma membrane. So the third one is fluid mosaic model, and as I told, this is the latest one at the accepted model. Okay, so fluid mosaic model was given by Singer and Nicholson. This one is important. You have to remember the name who proposed this model. So it was given by Singer and Nicholson in 1972, and according to this model, it is written, see, according to this model, the proteins are arranged in phospholipid bilayer as mosaic pattern. So mosaic means you have seen the floor, mosaic floor. So it is arranged in the form of mosaic pattern. So here you can see the phospholipid bilayers. These are the phospholipid bilayers which consist of two parts. One is a hydrophilic tail and one is a hydrophobic tail, and the other is hydrophilic head. Means hydrophobic tail face towards each other and similar to this only, and the hydrophilic head face outside, means one towards the protoplasm and the other towards outside. So in between this bilipid layer, these are the proteins. This is one type of protein, this is other type of protein. So this protein, that means what? Here two types of proteins are present. One is intrinsic protein, which is present or which is embedded, which is in between the bilipid layer, that is known as intrinsic or integral protein, and the extrinsic proteins is present on the surface of the bilipid layer. So they are present on the surface of bilipid layer. Extrinsic or external proteins and intrinsic or integral proteins are present in between the bilipid layer, and hence because of this the extrinsic proteins, they appear as icebergs on seawater. So see, that's why the next line you can see, this membrane is termed as protein icebergs in sea of phospholipid. That means it appears like icebergs on the on sea. Okay. So here, that means if you are asked that what are the main components present in the cell membrane according to fluid mosaic, so the main component is phospholipid because it forms the continuous structural frame of the cell membrane. Phospholipid is the main component of the cell membrane as it forms the continuous structural frame of the cell membrane. Next, the phospholipid, also the phospholipid bilayer provides the fluidity as it is rich in unsaturated fatty acids. So unsaturated fatty acids, which are liquid in nature, provides the fluidity. The quasi-fluid nature, also the lipids are quasi-fluid in nature, which helps in lateral movement of the protein. So due to quasi-fluid nature, that means they are not solid, they are quasi-fluid or the liquid in structure, for which it helps in lateral movement of the proteins. So other than the proteins and bilipid layer, you can see sugar molecules are present. So sugar molecules are present in the form of chain, and other than sugar molecule, cholesterol is also present, but cholesterol is absent in case of prokaryotic cell membrane, whereas in case of eukaryotic cell membrane, cholesterol is present. So that is about the cell membrane, according to the fluid mosaic model. Okay, you can make the necessary notes from this topic fluid mosaic model I have given. According to this model, the membrane does not have uniform disposition of lipids and protein, because lipids and proteins are not uniform, because proteins are present somewhere, you can see it is present on the surface, and somewhere you can see it is present within the embedded within the layer. So hence they are not uniform, so they do not have a uniform disposition of lipids and protein, but it's instead a mosaic of the two. So by lipid and the protein, both they forms a mosaic pattern. Next, further the membrane is quasi-fluid, as I told, and due to this quasi-fluid in nature, it helps in lateral movement of the proteins in the bilipid layer. So they helps in the lateral movement, and Fluid nature of the plasma membrane or the cell membrane is also important for some functions like cell growth, for the growth of the cell, for the junction means joining of the two cells, for the intercellular junctions, for some secretion means release of some substances, and for cell division. So these functions are also maintained by the fluid nature of the cell membrane. And if you see about the main function of the cell membrane is transportation, which is also called as membrane transport. So membrane transport is the most important function that is given by the cell membrane, that helps a molecule or a substance to move inside a cell or to move outside from a cell. So, and due to this transportation, we called as the selectively permeable. It is selectively permeable in nature. That means it selects some substances. And why I have written it selective permeable? Because as I told that the cell membrane is bilipid layer. That means bilipid means what? It will allow the lipid molecules to move in and move out easily. So it will help the lipid molecules that means the lipid soluble molecules can easily move in and move out. But the ones which are lipid insoluble, such as you take it as water molecule. So water molecule will not be allowed to move in easily and to move out easily by the bilipid layer. Hence, they are selectively permeable in nature. So this transportation actually occurs in two ways, either actively or passively. The main difference between active and passive transport is that the active transport always uses energy, and energy we call it in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, whereas in passive transport the ATP is not utilized. It does not utilize the ATP, and the active transport occurs rapidly. It is faster than the passive transport as it utilizes energy. So it is rapid in function, and passive is slowly. Compared to active transport, it occurs slowly. And active transport can also occur against concentration gradient. Against concentration gradient means from outside if it is low concentration, inside it is high concentration. From the low concentration area to an high concentration area, it can move. Whereas in passive transport, it follows concentration gradient. That means only from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration it can move. So it cannot move against the concentration gradient. And in active transport, it is also affected by some factors like temperature, chemicals like cyanide, or less oxygen. So active transports are always affected by these factors, whereas passive transport is not affected by any type of conditions. Okay, so these from this you can make some necessary notes about the functions and structure of the plasma membrane. So if a question comes, then usually for the fluid mosaic model only questions come, because this is the accepted one. Other two, just we have to know about who proposed and what propositions they gave about the two models. Okay, so next we will see about the cytoplasm or the protoplasm, which we call it as the matrix of the cell. So next topic is on cytoplasm. So cytoplasm is the matrix. So cytoplasm is the matrix which is enclosed by the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. So cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance. Okay, it is semi-fluid mass, which excluding the nucleus. That means the jelly-like, this is a jelly-like or the semi-fluid mass of the protoplasm, except the component which is present inside the nucleus. So this is known as cytoplasm. And there are some major functions performed by cytoplasm. So first of all is that the cytoplasm consists of all the cell organelles. So cell organelles means mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes. These are the cell organelles. That means organs of a cell. So cell organelles are present within the cytoplasm, and also some small bodies such as storage of food in the form of some inclusion bodies, which we call as inclusion bodies. So cell inclusions are also present within the cytoplasm. That means they are cell organelles and cell inclusions. Home is cytoplasm. So next the functions you see, first one is the raw materials. Okay, the raw materials are provided by the cytoplasm for the cell organelles to act. That means the raw material, suppose for the formation of for the formation of any type of suppose proteins. You take it as proteins. So proteins monomer is amino acids. So the raw materials will be provided by the cytoplasm. The raw material for the protein formation will be provided by cytoplasm, and the cell organelles, accordingly to that, it will produce the type of protein molecule. So second is cell organelles are usually unconnected. That means one cell organelle is independent. Some cell organelles, they are independent of each other. Hence, suppose if one cell organelle secretes a substance or synthesize means make up. Okay, so synthesis means they makes a substance. So if they makes a substance or synthesize a substance like proteins, so if they need to give to some other cell organelles for their functioning, for their main functioning, if they require to give to another cell organelles, it will go through the cytoplasm. Hence, since cell organelles are unconnected, the exchange of these materials always occurs through the cytoplasm. Third is, it acts as a seat. Seat means the place where the biochemicals, that means fats, carbohydrate, proteins, these are the biochemicals will synthesize. That means they act as a seat for the synthesis of number of biochemicals. And lastly, it also occurs as a place for some metabolic process to occur. That means glycolysis, anaerobic respiration, these are the different metabolic processes which always takes place in the cytoplasm. So these are the main 4 functions. You know about cytoplasm, you have heard before also about the cytoplasm. So here you just remember the main functions the cytoplasm performs, and if definition is asked, you can write the jelly-like semi-fluid mass of protoplasm a cell consists of, excluding the nucleus. So this is all about the cytoplasm. So now next we will move on to different cell organelles. Okay, so the main part of this chapter is about the cell organelles. So for different cell organelles means as I told, that the organs of a cell, that means mitochondria, ribosome, endoplasmic reticulum, these are the different cell organelles. So we will see one by one about the cell organelle. Okay. So now we will see about the cell organelles one by one. So you can see the 4 cell organelles I have written as endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosome and vacuoles. So these 4 cell organelles cannot function independently. That means what? The endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosome, vacuoles are dependent on one another and they work in coordination. So they work in coordination with one another. So hence they are termed as endomembranous system. See, I have written on the right side as endomembranous system. So endomembranous system means it includes some particular or specific cell organelles which cannot function independently and they function in coordination with one another. So if you are asked like what are the cell organelles that forms the endomembranous system, you have to write this 4 endoplasmic reticulum. Four cell organelles as endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosome and vacuoles. So one by one detailed study we will do now. So first one, see, endoplasmic reticulum, in short we also call it as ER. So you have seen the diagram on the left side of the board. See, this is the endoplasmic reticulum. This is the endoplasmic reticulum, and you have seen this is the nucleus. Okay, so this is the nucleus, and the endoplasmic reticulum. Nucleus is a double membranous cell organelle. Nucleus is a double membranous cell organelle, and see here the endoplasmic reticulum always extends from the outer membrane. So double membrane, this is one membrane, this is inner membrane, this is the outer membrane. From the outer membrane always the endoplasmic reticulum extends. Okay, from the outer membrane the endoplasmic reticulum extends, and you have seen you can see the figure. So these structures are known as cisternae. So this curve-like structure which I have drawn is known as cisternae. So that means what? The endoplasmic reticulum always occurs in 3 forms. They occurs in 3 forms. So see, on the right side of the board I have written the components as cisternae, vesicles and tubules. These are the cisternae. Okay, curve-like structure, these are the cisternae, and these are the tubules. These are the tubules, and vesicles means these are the vesicles. So these are the vesicles. That means that they secrete the substances in these vesicles only. Whatever they synthesize, whatever they manufacture, so they are released in the form of vesicles. So generally in three forms, this endoplasmic reticulum consist of. In these three forms they appear: cisternae, vesicles, and tubules. So cisternae, name for the first time you have got. So this one you just keep in mind. Okay, about the cisternae. Now see, from where it arises, if it is asked, then always from the outer membrane of the nucleus. Then structure, this endoplasmic reticulum is also known as the system of membranes. Okay, so they are often termed as the system of membranes, as the Golgi body is localized cell organelle with endoplasmic reticulum. Localized means, so you can, as I have told this, it is included under endomembranous system, means the endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus or the Golgi complex, they work in coordination with one another. So hence Golgi body is the localized cell organelle, while endoplasmic reticulum is the widespread in the cytoplasm. That means widespread means what? It occupies a major area of the cell or present within the cytoplasm. Hence it is known as system of membranes. Now see, these endoplasmic reticulum are generally divided into two types. So one is called as rough endoplasmic reticulum, and the other RER means rough endoplasmic reticulum, and SER means smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Now, what is the main difference between rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum? So, as the name suggests, rough endoplasmic reticulum, that means what? They appear rough in structure. Now, why do they appear rough in structure? See, this is the RER. This one is RER. So here you can see the red dot-like structure, spherical bodies I have drawn on the cisternae. So those are the ribosomes. Okay. So those are the ribosomes, and in rough endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes are present on the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum. Hence they appear rough. Whereas smooth endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes are absent, and hence they appear smooth and named so as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And therefore, the second difference, first one is you can write about the ribosomes, and the second difference also you can say that they are granular in structure. Granules means what? Like stone-like structures or pebbles-like structure, we call this as granules. So the granules are present in rough endoplasmic reticulum, whereas smooth endoplasmic reticulum are agranular in appearance or agranular in structure. That means granules are absent. Next you see mainly composed of cisternae. That means what? Rough endoplasmic reticulum are always present in the form of cisternae. Cisternae means these wavy like structure what I have drawn. So this is known as cisternae. So they are mainly composed in the form of cisternae, whereas smooth endoplasmic reticulums are always present in the form of tubules. Okay, so tubules or vesicles, they appear in the form of tubules or vesicles, whereas a rough endoplasmic reticulum always appear in the form of cisternae. Now the main function between performed by rough and smooth is that the rough endoplasmic reticulum always involved in the synthesis of proteins. So it is always involved in the synthesis of proteins, whereas the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is mainly involved in the synthesis of fats, which also we call it as lipids. So they are involved in the synthesis of lipids and fats. And other than lipids and fats, they also act as a seed for the synthesis and storage of sterols. Okay, sterols and glycogen are also synthesized by smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Next, if you are asked about the place where they are being synthesized, so rough endoplasmic reticulum generally synthesize the proteins in case of plasma cells, goblet cells. Okay, about the goblet cell we'll see in digestion chapter. Goblet cells, pancreatic cells, proteins are synthesized by RER, whereas SER synthesize the lipids and fats in liver cells, adipose. Adipose means liver cell only. I think you have got in class 10 about the tissues. In tissues you got about adipose cell, those are the fat cells. So in adipose cells, muscle cells, liver cells, SER synthesize the fats and lipids, fats or lipids and sterols. Now if you see the common function between this RER and SER, so you can by listening this lecture you can make some necessary notes also. So the common functions of RER and SER is that it provides a large surface inside the cell for some physiological activity. Physiological means synthesis of some biomolecules, some metabolic process. These are the physiological activities. So it provides a large surface inside the cell for various physiological activities. Next, endoplasmic reticulum also helps in intracellular transport. Intracellular transport means within a cell from one place to another. Suppose example you can take from one cell organelle to the another cell organelle, some substance needed to be carried. So this is done by endoplasmic reticulum. Also the membranes of endoplasmic reticulum consist of number of enzymes for various metabolic activities. For various metabolic activities, the endoplasmic reticulum also carries some enzymes. Okay, so this is all about the endoplasmic reticulum. From this endoplasmic reticulum, the main part you have to remember about the difference between RER and SER. Okay, so RER and SER, this is the main part only, and the forms in which they appear. The forms in which they appear are these three forms, like cisternae, vesicles and tubules. So in the next topic we will see about the next cell organelle, that is about Golgi apparatus. So you can make necessary notes by listening the lecture. You can make some necessary notes.